CCD teacher, we'll call her Miss Sheila, asked her students, how do we get to heaven? And one of the kids raised her hand and said, if we share with each other, we'll go to heaven. Correct, she said. You're absolutely correct. Next one raised his hand and said, Miss Sheila, if we tell the truth all the time, we will go to heaven. Well, there goes our politicians. Correct, she said. Absolutely correct. If we share with each other and if we tell the truth, we'll be going to heaven. And another one raised her hand and said, if we feed the poor, Miss Sheila, we're certainly to go to heaven. And Miss Sheila said, why, of course. If we feed the poor, we share with each other. What was the other one? Are you listening?
Tell the truth.
If we tell the truth, we certainly will go to heaven. Finally, Landon raises his hand from the back row and said, to get to heaven, we all have to croak first. Correct. All correct. All correct. Today's gospel is a little bit about holiness. Jesus is talking about holiness. We're not talking about sinning, just sinning. What is holiness to you? What does it mean to you? Holiness usually has very little to do with our outer world. Once in a while, we may go into a beautiful church or that, and we feel holy. It brings on a sense of holiness. But that's not really holiness. That's just a getting put down a feeling. So what is holiness? What is the type of holiness that Jesus is talking about today in the gospel? Is it wearing your Sunday best? Oh, that's nice, but it's not about that either. Holiness is sort of kind of an engineering inside of you, an inner engineering with the help of grace. Today's gospel is really similar to two other gospels that we find. The first one is Matthew. Woe unto you, scribes and Pharisees, hypocrites! For you make clean the outside of the cup, but within you're full of extortion and excess. You blind Pharisees. Cleanse first that which is in the cup, and that which is without side of the cup will be clean as well. Clean the outside, fine, but it's more important that you clean the inside. Luke 11:39 is very, very similar. He adds a couple more things. And the Lord said unto him, now you Pharisees, make clean the outside of the cup and the platter, throws in the platter, but your inward part is full of greed and wickedness. Fools! Did not God that made the outside also make the inside? Of course. I think Jesus' idea of holiness is different from even our idea of holiness today. It definitely was different with the Pharisees and Jesus. There was a dichotomy going on between their idea of holiness and the purity of what Jesus talks about with holiness. Remember this saying, everything that glitters on the outside is not gold. It's important that the outside of a person is clean. We're not saying that, especially during COVID, to wash your hands as many times as you can. Good hygiene is a very good thing. But how is your inner hygiene? How's that? How's that affecting you? Have you thought about it? The inner and the outer. Is there a balance? Maybe it's good to have a balance of inner and outer holiness. I think I was listening to a radio program this week, and they said that one of the top 3 industries for making profit in the United States today, and I didn't know this, is big pharma, pharmacies, pharmaceuticals. More people are on pills than ever before. And I'm not poo-pooing the idea if you have cholesterol, throw them away. Or if you have anxiety, throw them away. I'm not saying that. But what is it with our generation that we are surviving on pills? Literally surviving on pills. If you watch at night, especially at night, if you watch the news or that, every 3rd commercial is about a pill. What that pill is going to do for you. How that pill is going to change you, so-called change you. Well, I can tell you that that pill, no matter what you take, whether you take cannabis, or whether you take a pill, or whether you take alcohol, that's one of the largest, also, that was on the news article, that alcohol is also one of the largest industries in the United States. Well, if we are so needy from alcohol, from cannabis, from pills, if we are that, we need to probably take a little gander on the inside of the cup and say, what is going on? A lot of it's societal. You just have to turn on the news, and man, I'd be so anxious. I've had to limit my news. But what is it with our society that we no longer have the joy of life, bliss, happiness? And you see this, it's really easy, you see this in a 3, 4, 5-year-old. They've not lost their bliss. That inner bliss is still there. They will sometimes cry and throw a tantrum, that I've seen. But generally, they're happy with anything. A roll of toilet paper. You don't have to buy them much. Their kids just find everything so fantastic. I often, when we go to parties, birthday parties, and you see the kids playing, they play with abandon. They're just so damn happy. What happened? What happened when you hit 30 or 40 or 50 or 60? I think that's possibly why Jesus tells us in another gospel, be like little children. Be happy. Be joyful. There's enough in the world to take us away from joy and happiness. There's plenty. But if our inner being is not joyful and happy here, don't wait for heaven, because that's a crock. Living your life miserable, without happiness, without bliss, waiting for some pie in the sky thing to happen when we drop dead, that's not the time to start living. The time to start living is now. To find that inner happiness, to put on the mind of Christ. Christ, I think Catholics are some of the most sad people on earth. I have to say it. They hang on to the cross, which is good, and we should hang on to the cross. But I think they forgot all about Easter, the resurrection, life eternal with God. It's important. But so is your life here on earth. Have fun. Lighten up. We have to lighten up, I think, a little bit. The inner has to balance the outer. And I think that's what Jesus is telling us in the gospel today. It's not that it's not good to wash your hands, as I said, but how's the inside feeling? Sometimes not too good. I'll wake up some days and I wake up most days an atheist. I'll be totally honest with you. I wake up most days and I'm pretty much an atheist till I have coffee, and then I'm an agnostic. By the time I get the coffee down, I'm an agnostic. And then, Mike will tell you, I will pray and I will meditate in the morning. I'm not saying I'm all that in a bag of chips, but I find that prayer and meditation puts my GPS in the right way. Because we're all the same. We leave on Sunday, I leave on Sunday, we lock the chapel up, and how's the rest of the week going for you? Are you thinking of God the rest of the week? Or are you thinking of your inner life? Not just your outer life, what you're eating, what you're to eat, what you're to wear. Jesus tells us even Solomon is not clothed in such splendor as the flowers of the field and the birds, because he takes care of everything. So today, if you get anything out of this gospel today, don't wait, as Landon said, till you croak. Don't wait till then to find that inner happiness. Start looking for it. And the minute you tell God, I don't know how to do this, I have no idea, you're going to have to help me because I was going to say something. I'm out of luck. I'm out of luck because I can't do it on my own. There's no way that I can do it. And if we go to God each day saying, I don't know, stop pretending that you know everything. Because you know, nobody does. Not one of us here knows enough to probably even get through the day. But with the help of God, and with looking at the inside, how's the inside going? I think you'll find your way. It's pretty simple. I think we've lost it. Jesus knew that if we didn't deal with the inside of the cup, we're going to get in a lot of trouble. And I think that's why you see it in so many of the Gospels. Deal with the inside. The outside will take care of itself. Amen? Amen. Amen.